Richard Crouse.
Congratulations on the film.
Thank you. Thank you.
What was it about this film that attracted you to the script? We haven't seen you in a courtroom, I don't think, since Amistad. It's been a while.
So. Time to Kill. Well, no, Amistad followed that. You're right. Yeah. Amistad followed A Time to Kill. I was ready to get back in the courtroom.
Yeah.
You know, but the character Lincoln Lawyer, Mick Haller, he works out of the backseat of his Lincoln. He works on the streets. He's working with the underbelly of society. He's defending the people that can't defend themselves, the people that don't have the means to defend themselves. And that's where he lives. That's where he gets turned on. That's where he's good at his job. I connected with that, the humanity that the guy had on that level. Then I liked the guy's very street, very much a player, very much one step ahead of everyone in the game, and knows this system that we call the judicial system, which a lot of it is a game. More of a game than I thought it was in my own life before doing this film. And then when he wasn't a step ahead of everyone, and he was seemingly in over his head, he had a great mettle. He had a great gambling spirit that just said, let's pull the Joker out of my sleeve, let's lay it on the line, let's go.
Well, that's what I thought made the character so interesting, because when in the first half an hour of the film, I don't know, for half an hour, 40 minutes, I wasn't sure whether I liked this guy very much, because he is a wheeler dealer. He's someone who earns money by any means necessary. He's got a couple, and he's got a couple of scams that he pulls the guy with the videotape. Yeah. There's a little scam happening there. So I wasn't sure whether or not I was going to like this guy, and if I wanted to spend 90 minutes or 2 hours with him. And then there's a couple of things that go, oh, he's a real person. He's a real person on this. He's not just a complete sleazeball.
He's definitely a scammer. Yeah. I mean, he goes on both sides of. I'd say he's a little more amoral than being on one side or the other. So he's a gray knight, not a white knight for sure. He's a guy I'd want on my side, defending me, but he's looking out for himself and those who cannot defend themselves. And as he says, that's why he's a defense attorney, not guilty. It's worst in his mind to tag on to have someone guilty and tag on two murders from two different people that didn't commit them, than to let one have two people wrongly convicted is worse than having one rightly convicted. In his mind. I like Mick Haller. Yeah.
Well, didn't you have an experience with a lawyer sort of not unlike him a little bit? I've read an interview where you talked about paying a guy $50 years ago, and you said he kind of worked out of the back of a truck.
Worked out of the back of a truck?
He said, I had to hire one when he wasn't working out of the back of his Lincoln, but it might have been a truck he was in, and it worked. It only cost me $50, and it was $50 too much, but I was acquitted. Is that ringing a bell?
Well, I remember the $50. I don't remember what he was driving or how he arrived. But the same guy that defended me defended Willie Nelson, so he was probably in a truck.
Let's talk a little bit about setting this in L.A., because, so often legal dramas like this, I guess we're used to seeing Law and Order and that kind of thing, set in New York, and it's sort of, there's something about the grit of that city that seems to make sense for this kind of story, but L.A. is such a great setting for this. And I love a lot of the little details that, your dad was a lawyer and represented Mickey Cohen, who was a famous L.A. lawyer, and that kind of thing. What do you think the L.A. setting adds to the story?
Well, number one, you don't see this part of L.A. Even if you shoot in L.A., you really don't see this part of L.A. I've been living there part of every year of my life for the last 16 years. I've never seen 80% of the places we were in.
It's not the glamour. We're not seeing the glamorous side of
We're not in Beverly Hills. We're not in Malibu. We're not. No, this is, keep going east. Keep going east. It's it. I mean, the whole film has a bit of a pulp feel to it, a bit of a street. It's got a jive to it, and you can kind of feel some shadows in the places where Mick looms and hangs, and the people, and it's shady. It's shady. Yeah, that's a good word for it. It's shady, and whether it's through the sound and the soundtrack and the places that Mick goes and hangs, it's that underbelly. And it's a part of L.A. that, you don't see in films that often. And I'm glad you don't really shoot many films in L.A. Yeah. Not near as many as you think. Most of our films in L.A. come here to your country,
Marissa Tomei and you have such an interesting relationship in the movie, and I think it's a relationship that a lot of people have with their exes. Tell me a little bit about that, because you guys get along so well, and yet you're not together, and I don't think we'll ever be together.
I don't think so either. No, I think that would be untrue. And I think if you look at, as you said, there are a lot of relationships like that today. Two people that love each other, have made a child together, have a daughter, but they can't live with each other. Yeah. They're better. They can love each other better and raise that daughter better independently. They've tried it. It makes sense at night and doesn't in the morning, you know. And I think that's a pretty true little light to shine on how a lot of relationships are, and how a lot of people do sort of coexist or exist independent of each other, but yet keep their unit together as best they can. And then time goes by, and you think, maybe we should do this again. We should do this. It's going to work.
It seems like it's working.
And all of a sudden, an hour, a day, a week, a month into it, you're like reminded, oh, jeez, of course it doesn't work, you know? And she's a prosecutor, I'm a defense attorney, so that's obvious friction there. But also probably why we had the hots for each other in the beginning, you know?
Well, I thought that whole part of the thing really humanized him a lot for me.
Yeah.
And the daughter character.
Yeah.
Matthew, thanks a lot.
Appreciate it.
Good to talk to you.
Richard Crouse.